Hello folks, and welcome back to Shogun Total War, where I'm going to be doing something a little bit different today by playing a historical battle. I have in mind this will start a new series for me. I've been toying around with the idea for a while that I would like to make a tutorial series, and I'll tell you what, every time I sit down to start writing a script for any of those videos, I just get stumped. So I've been thinking I need to get out of this rut and do something a little bit different here. Now, I've had this idea suggested to me by a couple of people at this moment, including one fellow YouTuber by the name of Bjorn. I hope I've pronounced that correctly, but Bjorn is a YouTuber who has done a lot of Shogun content himself, and he has encouraged me to perhaps try some historical battles, and he has done all of them himself already. That's why I was kind of hesitant at first. They've already been done, but at this point, I think it's a good idea for me to try them out and see how it goes. And I have played a couple of the historical battles already, quite a while ago, but for the most part, I haven't played most of these. But for this series, I will be playing all of them, and I am not a big history buff, so I don't know a lot about a lot of these battles, but I know a little something about them. So I will be trying to talk a little bit about what I know of these battles at least, and I think it'll be fun because these battles put me in a scenario where I'm playing with an army that I didn't pick, and I'm attacking in a situation that I didn't choose. And that's the nice thing about playing a campaign, is that every army that I fight with is an army that I've built myself and that I'm comfortable fighting with, in theory at least. And every battle that I fight, as long as I'm the attacker, it's in my choosing, so that it should be in my favor. Again, in theory. However, for these historical battles, what's fun about that is that I didn't choose these armies. In this case, I'm going to be outnumbered and outclassed. The enemy is going to have a better army than me and more soldiers. And it's going to be a little difficult for me just to kind of figure out how I want to fight with this army. Now, I have practiced this battle before, again, a long time ago, but I don't think it's too difficult. Even on the expert difficulty level, I think this battle is relatively easy to fight. And getting on into it, so this is going to be the 4th Kawanakajima, which is one of the most famous battles in this time period that I'm aware of, and it takes place between two of the most famous samurai generals of this time period, Takeda Shingen and Uesugi Kenshin, which if you've watched any of my Let's Plays so far, then you probably are aware of who these people are at this time. They were great rivals in this time period, and this is called the 4th Kawanakajima because there were 3 skirmishes before this one. Now, the 4th battle is the main one. It's the one where the main bodies of each army actually did clash. In the 3 prior battles, it was basically just skirmishes or vanguards attacking rear guards and so on and so forth. But in this case, the main bodies of each army actually did collide, and apparently there actually was a little clash between Takeda Shingen and Uesugi Kenshin, where famously Takeda Shingen had to defend himself from an onslaught by Kenshin with his war fan, which is kind of a cool image if you think about it. Now, I can read this little description to you. The Kawanakajima Plain is an area of flatland where the territories of the Uesugi and Takeda clans met. 5 battles were fought on this plain between the 2 clans, and the 4th one was one of the bloodiest and most spectacular battles in Japanese history. Uesugi's army had taken position atop Mount Saijo. Takeda split his army in 2 and intended to take Uesugi by surprise with the first section of his army, while the second waited to cut them down as they were routed. However, Uesugi mobilized before the Takeda strike force... Before the Takeda strike force could arrive and descended on the Takeda position on the plain. The Takeda army was expecting to face a disorganized and routing enemy, but now they were faced with the full strength of the Uesugi army advancing upon them. Now, without having a map at my disposal, that actually gives a pretty decent explanation of what had happened. Essentially, just to clear that up if that does confuse you a little bit, basically, Uesugi's forces, he had 20,000 men on top of a hill. Takeda's forces, Uesugi had 18,000 and Takeda had 20,000 at the bottom of the hill. And what he decided to do was have a force of 12,000 men attacking the hill at dawn, and Takeda personally himself would have a detachment of 8,000 that would sneak around the hill at nighttime to basically cut off any retreating forces from Uesugi. Now, what had happened was, by the time the attack force of 12,000 men reached the top of the hill, they realized that it had been deserted previously. And what had happened was, Uesugi's forces clashed. This full army of 18,000 men hit Takeda Shingen's detachment of 8,000 men as they were by themselves, basically, and they were planning on cutting down the routing army. So, in essence, in my opinion, this was a very bad plan by the Takeda force. Splitting up your army is not always a bad idea, but you need to be able to reinforce quickly in an event that, in this situation, the enemy force, when they are in the middle of your split force, can take apart your army in detail as long as you don't react quick enough. And in this situation, when you have the armies that are split up by a hill and an enemy force, that's a lot to get through before you can reunite your forces. And as it turns out, the fact that Uesugi Kenshin had deserted his hill and came down and attacked Takeda Shingen's detachment of 8,000 men was purely by accident. He didn't know anything of Takeda's plan. He just decided not to be on that hill anymore, and he wanted to regroup somewhere else. As it turns out, as he was coming down the hill and saw Takeda Shingen nearly by himself with just 8,000 men, obviously took the opportunity to attack. And it was only from they eventually did hold out. Takeda Shingen held out as long as he could. He lost at least one of his brothers and I think one of his other top generals as well. And eventually the original strike force of 12,000 men came down from the hill and attacked Uesugi Kenshin in the rear, and Kenshin was able to retreat, and it ended up being one of the bloodiest battles in this time period. Both sides lost a lot of men. I think one side lost 12,000 and the other side, I'm pretty sure Takeda Shingen lost 12,000 men out of his 20,000, and then Uesugi Kenshin lost around 13,000 out of his 18,000. So yeah, it was kind of a stalemate in a sense. So without further ado, let's get into this battle and see how Creative Assembly has decided to depict this battle. And I will be playing on expert difficulty. Alright, so what's being depicted here is that I'm playing Takeda Shingen's force, and I have the smaller army, right? That part makes sense. Now, as for the rest of it, the fact that this battle is fought in the fog, I'm not sure why that's the case. Also, the fact that I am the attacker here, as you can see, I can't set up my army. That means that I'm the attacker. I don't know why that's the case, because this detachment was being attacked by Uesugi Kenshin's force. Now, in addition to that, if we look up here at my mini-map, and I'll show you with my mouse, I know that Uesugi Kenshin's force is going to be up here. It's a little bit of a high ground. For the most part, this map is relatively smooth, with just some very shallow hills dotted throughout. But Uesugi Kenshin's force is here on this flank, and I feel like this battle is being designed to be essentially an ambush battle because of the fog. I think I'm supposed to kind of stumble through the fog and then get attacked from the right flank. I don't know why any of this was made this way, is what I'm trying to say. Considering that I just described the battle to you, none of what we see here seems to be how the battle actually unfolded. And unfortunately, if this is supposed to be an ambush battle, well, I'm sorry, but I already played this, and I can't not know where the enemy is. I understand that this is the first game, this is the full Total War game, so there was a lot to figure out when it came to creating historical scenarios, and Creative Assembly probably didn't really know what to do with this one, but I feel like in a simple attack and defense battle would have made more sense, because this sort of foggy quasi ambush seems kind of strange. And in addition to that, there is no reinforcements coming. It's just me versus them. There is no 12,000 men that's coming to the rescue in this scenario. So yeah, a few odd decisions that are being made. Now, something that I can show you, something that I usually cut out in my campaigns, is that I kind of cut out the army grouping stage of everything, just to kind of speed things along. But I'll keep that part in here just to kind of talk you through it. And just bear with me as I sort of get used to this, because like I said, I'm used to cutting this part out. But what I like to do is I like to group my main infantry with my main archers all together in one group. Now, I have 2 Yari Samurai, 2 Samurai Archers, and 2 Yari Ashigaru to be my main center holding force. And that's the primary job of this body of my army. And I like to put them in group 1. So I have them grouped and I have them in group 1. Now, I can't show you the formation I'm going to use for them right now, because I can't do that when I'm the attacker. But I will show you as soon as I click begin battle. So I'm just going to put all of these guys together in one group, and I do have formation groups that I like to use in this game. They're not perfect, but it's a way of streamlining my controls to make the battle make sense for me. And again, I'll talk more about that when I press begin battle. Right now, I'm just left with talking about how my control groups are set up. So simple enough, I have my main body as group 1. Now, I think what I want to do is have my Nodachi swordsmen. These guys are going to be really powerful for me in this battle, because it's going to be their job to do a lot of damage. They have very high attack and very high charge. They have low armor and low defense. So it's going to be their job to do as much damage, possibly coming around the flanks and possibly coming around and attacking the enemy from the flanks or from the rear if I can get them in the right position. And I'll have them as group 2, just by themselves. And let's see, group 3, my Cavalry Archers, where are they? Right here. Cavalry Archers are they are probably the most versatile unit in the army roster, and I love using Cavalry Archers. They can be kind of tricky because their morale is so low, and that's something I can talk about a little bit more as I get into the battle. But just so you know, they can do a lot. They can shoot, they can move, they can scout. If you're going to fight this battle for the first time, using them to scout the fog is a really smart idea. But if you're already watching this, then you already know where the enemy is anyway. So anyway, I'm going to have them in group 3. And then I just have my daimyo. Unlike the, well, in this case, it's not necessarily a daimyo because he doesn't have just the 10 bodyguards. He has a full 60-man unit of heavy cav, which is kind of nice. That's pretty awesome, actually. But Uesugi Kenshin will have a similar unit of 60 men. So now I'm just going to get into it and have begin battle. Alright, so just right away I'm going to control group, and I can hear the enemy in the distance, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to move anywhere. So that's going to give me a little bit of time to talk about what I like to do here. Now, the keys on the keyboard numbered 1 through 9 each have a different group formation assigned to them. I don't use all of these because I think a lot of them are kind of pointless, but there are a couple that I typically use every time, and one of them it's called the Arrowhead Formation. It's basically just spears in front, archers in the back, but here's where it's not perfect. If I could really have it my way for say, 2 Yari Samurais, 2 Yari Ashigaru, and 2 Samurai Archers, I would prefer Yari Ashigaru in the front because they are the weakest and they can take arrow fire and they can essentially absorb charges. And then I would have my Samurai Archers in the back or in the middle row, and then I'd have my Yari Samurai in the 3rd row. That's if I could design this myself. But this is the best that I can get. I have Yari Samurai in the front, Yari Ashigaru here, sharing the 2nd row with Samurai Archers, which are, as you can see, are not in thin ranks. Archers, when they're not in thin ranks, have a accuracy penalty to them. they need to be in ranks of two or less to not have any penalty to their shooting accuracy. So this is also not ideal. And then having Yari Ashigaru in the rear rank also isn't ideal, just because the reserves are very important. And if anything happens badly in the front, like if these guys are running away, well, their morale isn't good. So if anything bad happens in the front where I need my reserves, Yari Ashigaru aren't really going to cut it. So this is a very unideal formation for me, but that comes with, you know, this whole historical battle thing where I'm trying to figure this out. So I like to switch between, if I have the entire group selected by pressing Control 1, and this is the Arrowhead Formation. I like to use the Arrowhead Formation when I'm going to be going through either woods or fog or heavy rain or snow where the visibility is limited. I want my my spearmen front facing so that they can take any charges away from the archers. However, if I have a pretty good idea of where the enemy is, then I'll press 5 on the numbers key on the keyboard, and that's going to stand for skirmish forward. And that's basically just going to flip the order, where the archers are forward, Yari Samurai second row, and Ashigaru in the third row. Now this is a very neat, nice formation, and it makes me wish that the arrowhead was the same but opposite. Now, actually, that gives me an idea. There's one other formation that I don't use very often. It's called Castle, and let's just see what Castle does. Castle is another form of melee forward options that I don't use it very often, but actually, come to look at it, if I can see, I actually like this a lot better. Yeah, so it's not perfect because it gives me a weak right flank by having my 2 Yari Ashigaru units together on the right flanks. That makes me a little bit nervous, but by just having the Yari Samurai in the front, all of the spearmen are in front, and having my archers in thin ranks in the back, I like this a lot better. So I'll be going with the castle formation. I'll be keeping my Ashigaru. I probably should keep them over here, but considering that I'm going to be going down the right side of this map, I want them on the left side of my formation so that they have more room to work with. And same goes for my Cavalry Archers. I can just keep them on my left side of my formation, and I'll just have my general in the back as such. Now I can just fast forward this. And now it's just time to move. Again, if we look on the mini map, if we see this raised ground right here that I'm pointing at, I think that's where I like to set up. So I'm going to start moving my guys there. Now that I'm just about in position here, and as I peer through the fog ahead of me, I can see the edges of Uesugi's formation here. And as you can see, it's not the greatest high ground. It's pretty shallow, but it does mean something. Fighting up this would convey some advantage to them against my troops. So if I can lure them into attacking me here, that would be better for me. So what I'm going to be doing is setting up the edge of my line here. And then I will be going forward with my Cavalry Archers. And then I will be bringing my Nodachi up as well. And then General Unit can probably come around on this edge as well. And then what I like to do with my group of Cavalry Archers is bring them around the rear. I'm trying to find... Usually Uesugi Kenshin is in the back here. I wonder if he's... Oh, interesting. I feel like this is a first time for me, because I feel like for me, every time that I've played this battle, Uesugi Kenshin is sitting just right back here with this group of 60 heavy cavalry units, and essentially I can cut down about half of them without them even responding to me. It's sort of kind of how the AI is depicted when there's fog. They kind of act stupidly, and I think it's CA's way of saying, yes, the human eye has a hard time seeing in the fog here, but the AI is also kind of confused as well. Now, it looks stupid because we see a unit getting shot by arrows and we're like, well, that wouldn't happen, that's dumb. But I think it's just the limitations of this game's engine trying to depict that it's just confusing for the AI as well. However, in this case, seeing the general's unit tucked way up there, I've never seen this before. I'm completely thrown off. I think the best idea is to still try to get some shots in before battle starts. And essentially, the plan is the same. I want to use my Cavalry Archers to lure the enemy back into my force that's waiting here. Now, as I was saying before, Cavalry Archers are extremely versatile. There's a lot that they can do. Oops, and they've already spotted me, so... Oh no, I've already started shooting automatically. Okay, I was like, what's going on here? Oh yeah, they were on fire at will, so they're already shooting. And who are they deciding to shoot at? This archer unit? You know what? Why not? That seems fine with me. Yeah, archers are a good target. Although, I do wonder if I can get shots in on that general's unit. Yeah, as you can see, they're not really responding to my unit of cavalry archers. They're just kind of moving out of range of the shots, but they're not coming around to attack me. Now, this archer unit's coming back. I wonder if they can see me or not. So I'm getting shots in on the general's unit, and I want to see what they're doing. Nope, they're turning back around. So they essentially don't know where I'm at, and I am getting a lot of good shots in here on this heavy cavalry. Now, heavy cav does have heavy armor. That's implied in the name. So my archers aren't going to be doing a ton of damage to them, but if I can take them down, usually I can get them down to around 35. Now, I've already spent a few shots on these archers, so maybe I can get them around 37 or maybe 40. That still gives me an advantage in a straight-up cav fight between the two units of heavy cavalry. However, as you can see, I'm outnumbered here. I mean, what do they have? Yari Ashigaru there, Ashigaru there, so 2 units of Ashigaru, 2 units of Yari Samurai, 2 units of Samurai Archer, so that's all the same as mine. And then, what do they have here? 1 Cav Archer, same as mine, but 2 additional units of Yari Cav, which I don't have. That gives them a really big advantage in the cavalry department, which is kind of ironic because that's sort of Takeda's thing. And they do have, I believe they do have some Nodachi swordsmen in their front as well. And it looks like they have some more units in their front that I can't see. So I'm guessing they probably have another unit of spearmen or another unit of archers, perhaps. So yeah, they have more than me for sure. So this is really going to have to go in my favor for me to pull this one off. Now I am getting him down quite a bit here. And okay, so now he's moving out of range, and I don't want my guys... Nope, stay. That's the problem with... So I prefer having units on... Oh, see, now I'm taking fire from the archers. So now I need to move back a little bit. See, I can see down here when my unit card... Yep, now they're running at me, so I need to make sure that I'm running away. And this is where the morale of cavalry archers makes me nervous, because they have very, very low morale, and sometimes that means that they're going to run away when I don't want them to. Now I need to get my general's unit out here to help protect them, and this unit come around here, and if I can kill this general unit, that would be good for me. Now if I can have my general's unit attack and have spears attack, that would be good. And if I could have my unit of cav archers come around the side here, that'd also be good for me. And this could be a really good pick. I have my Yari Yashigaru coming in from the flank, and I have a good... You know, I'm actually going to pin him in if I can. Oh no, he's going to get away. See, I kind of want to come at him and pin him in, but yeah, he's going to get away from me there. That's too bad. I could have killed the general. Maybe I still will kill the general? No, I'm not going to kill the general. Oh well, that's still a good grab for me. I still did a lot of damage, and I'm wondering if the rest of the army is going to come at me now, or have they just kind of... Yeah, so they regrouped. Looks like... Are they still... Oh no, that was a group of Yari cavalry. That wasn't the daimyo, it appears. Oh, interesting. I thought that was the Daimyo. Okay, that would explain why he was so fast. I was thinking because these heavy cav are slower than cavalry archers, as you'd imagine. And he really got on me pretty fast there, so that kind of surprised me. Yari Cav do have an advantage against other cavalry because of their spears, but not so much of an advantage that they can beat heavy cav. They will trade effectively per their cost, but overall, the heavy cav will still beat them in a one-on-one engagement. Now, looks like, I'm curious, I wonder if they're withdrawing because they know I have a flank on them. Are they leaving this archer unit by himself? Because if they are, I'm going to attack. Yeah, so I'm going to send my unit of cavalry archers to attack. And I think since they've abandoned their position here, and I don't know where they are anymore, I'm just going to move up the rest of my force. And have my general move up as well. And if I could cut down these archers, that would be nice. Maybe if I... Okay, now here comes the general's unit. Now I kind of want to retreat with my archers. Now this is kind of an awkward position for me because I already have my force moving up this hill. Let's see if I can move my general's unit there. And let's see if can I get... See, this is going to be tricky. I want to get my archers away. Archers away. Come on, come on, come on. Can I get them away? Come on. See if I can get them away here and keep them close to my general. And let's see, I can attack their general with my general and bring the infantry up to support. And if I can have Nodachi, they might be too far away for now. And let's see, yeah, so we do have spears fighting their general, so that's good. And let's see, did my... Yep, my archers are still around, so that's good. My cav archers did not completely... They got beat up for sure, but they're still around. And it looks like I do have their general trapped, which is really, really good for me. And interestingly enough, it looks like the rest of the army has kind of pieced out. Let's see, are we going to get him here? I can't tell. Okay, so Kenshin did get away, but he got badly beat up, and now I'd like to have my cavalry archers chase down this unit of samurai archers if I could. And then I would also like to bring the main body of my force to claim this high ground here. And I want to keep... I don't want them to get shot by arrows because my Nodachi have very low armor. And it looks like they're getting shot by arrows here. And it looks like the rest of the force is spread out over here. Okay, I see them. That's fine. And as long as my... Oh, they just regrouped. So I don't want them to regroup and take out my cavalry archers. So I'll have them there. And how are we doing here? I'll come around to that in a minute. Right now, I want to finish off Uesugi Kenshin. If I can get around him, that would be lovely. Right now, I have a really good advantage. 57 of my guys versus 17 of theirs. And if I can get my cavalry archers to help close that off and try to trap them in here, that'd be nice. Now, where are we looking? Okay, Nodachi Swordsman. Now, how are we going to do... It's 2-on-2, basically. Not great. I think what I need to do is to push forward, and I just want to hold here until this is done. I don't really want to push on this front. I just want to hold on this front until my cavalry is freed up. Then I can claim an advantage eventually, especially once I get these archers, get rid of these archers here. Now, Uesugi Kenshin's really holding on here. How am I doing? I have 19 cavalry archers. Heavy cav is still... I haven't lost a single heavy cav since this second engagement here. And down to 2 guys. Oh, they're so close. How are we doing up here? They are running away, so archers... I'll have my Ashigaru chase them. One of the really good things about Ashigaru is that they are faster than Yari Samurai, so they can do a good job of chasing down those archers. So that's sweet. And how are we doing otherwise? Down just to 1 guy, alright. Now, I'll have my cavalry archers chase down this unit of samurai archers, and I'll just leave my general's unit to eventually finish off Uesugi Kenshin, hopefully. Alright, how are we doing here? Looks like... Oh, are those arquebusiers? Huh, they're, yeah, gun units. I didn't know that they even were in this battle. Let's see, I'll have this Ashigaru unit cut down this unit of Samurai Archers. And we'll be looking at Cav Archers, Samurai Archers. Still a formidable unit. Yeah, actually, that's a formidable infantry corps up there, including those Nodachi swordsmen. So, even though so far everything is really going in my favor, how are we doing here? Yeah, so they're cutting down the Samurai Archers. That's going well for me. And how are we doing over here? We still haven't killed Uesugi Kenshin, have we? Like, okay, there he goes. There he's done. Alright. Took a while. And let's see. Let's just bring up my heavy cav. And how are my Cavalry Archers doing? I feel like... I don't know where they are right now. But wherever they are, I can bring them back. And I don't know why my archer unit is out of position like this. That's kind of weird. Alright, so now this unit's getting cut up. My Ashigaru have very light armor, so they're taking a lot of damage. Now, how are we doing? We're shooting down Cav Archers. That's good for me. Now, I don't really want to attack straight on into this because it is uphill. And that's not really what I want to do here. If I can keep winning the skirmish engagement, that would be good. But I don't know if I can keep winning the skirmish engagement. I think possibly I've done all I can. I am curious. Yeah, I'm losing quite a few troops, and I'm getting to the point where I don't know... I'm not sure how much of this I can keep up here. So, alright, so they're moving off, and archers are also... No, I think they're just retreating a little bit. So I have Nodachi on their right flank, and then spearmen on their left. Okay, so I definitely want to attack their left flank. If I'm going to make a move, I want to attack this way. Sort of a refused flank, where I don't want to engage on my right, because the right side is where they have their Nodachi swordsmen. And... okay, let's see. Are they running away? Okay, they're running away, so I want to send my Cavalry Archers out to run them down. And it looks like Cavalry Archers are moving off, and it looks like they are abandoning their position on the hill. And that's fine. I'm just going to keep turning this flank and push like so. And I'll keep my general on this side, and then Nodachi swordsman I'll push out on this side as well. And we'll see if they're going to break here or if they're just repositioning themselves. Sometimes it's hard to tell. It looks like they might be running away. This might be the end of this army here, and I can just, yeah, finish off that unit of VR Samurai, take a free pick, why not? Yeah, it can be hard to use Cavalry Archers just because their morale is so low, and that's unfortunate because their main role in battle is to essentially act independently and try to draw enemy forces into bad positions. But when they have bad morale, that can be really tricky because there's times where I've had Cavalry Archers run away, I mean completely book it off the edge of the map, and even though they've taken 0 casualties. In fact, I've had this happen while playing this battle, this very battle. I was skirmishing with my Cav Archers, and just because there's a morale hit to units when there's an enemy unit close behind them, that means that they can break just like that. And it happened to me. I was having my Cav Archer unit turn around to bait units into the rest of my force, and what happens when you're doing that, when you turn around, all of a sudden you have that morale hit modifier where you take morale damage even though you did that intentionally. You're doing it on purpose to draw them forwards, and the unit completely breaks off. Now, that would never happen with a unit of Nodachi swordsmen. These guys have super high morale. They are made to operate independently. Nodachi swordsmen are made for flank attacks and jobs that are independent and revolve around moving around the flanks and at the edges of the enemy. Cav Archers are in this awkward position where they're made for the job, except their morale is so low that it's hard to trust them. in campaign, you can make it so that the morale's pretty high by building temples, and you can make the morale higher and by getting them experience. But in these historical battles, it can be a little bit finicky to make sure that they actually stay in battle. Now, it looks like I've done it here. It looks like the enemy basically pushed off and retreated. I would say the fight was ended a little too soon. I think personally that they still had a lot of fight left in them because they outnumbered me, quite frankly. But, you know, I'll take the victory. In my experience, this is how it's always been for this battle. I typically get a few good early engagements, and then they call it quits and exit the battlefield, which is too bad. It could have been a really epic battle, but yeah, I typically find in this situation they kind of bugger off. Which, if you want to talk historical facts, that's what happened. Kenshin did when he was attacked from the rear. He just kind of buggered off. He didn't really fight to the death or anything. Although, I mean, they did lose a lot of guys. But in any case, I can just speed this up here and check out the end results. There we have it. Alright, let's check the numbers. And so I was able to kill 376 and I lost 134 men. My general's unit did very well. They killed 65 men, only lost 3. Cavalry Archers, I gotta say, they did a lot for me. And in this battle, they actually did not run away. I think part of that was by keeping them close to Takeda Shingen, and his leadership helped them to stay in the fight when they were really getting hit hard. There's a couple times where they were caught by the Yari Cav, and they were even caught by the heavy Cav unit of the enemy, and they stayed in there and they fought. They lost a lot of men. They only had 19 left at the end, but they got 89 kills and they did a good job for me. Let's see, Yari Samurai held the line, didn't end up having to fight a lot. Samurai Archers skirmished for me pretty well, got some decent kills. Nodachi Swordsmen, unfortunately, never got them in the battle, so no action for them. They lost a few guys to Archer Fire, and that's it. And then Ashigaru, they just, for the most part, they just took arrows like champs. They were unfortunately being targeted by enemy archers in that skirmish battle, and they lost a lot of guys. But in this case, one of them did very well by running down units with its speed. I was able to take advantage of its speed and run down units that were fleeing the battlefield. So I'm pretty happy with that. And so far, I've been pretty happy with how this historical battle has turned out. So let me know what y'all think about this. I pretty much already have my mind set on doing more of these and finishing up all of these. But I just want to know what you think about them. And I'm glad that I'm finally doing this. I'm really grateful that that Bjorn has encouraged me to do these battles, and if you want to check out his channel, I'm going to be leaving a link to some of his historical battles in the description below. So yeah, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. All right, take care, folks.